What's up, everyone? This is Clock Management. I'm your host, Justin, and as always, I'm joined by Perry's.
Perry's, we're both here. And I gotta say, Justin, you must be jelly. Because jam don't shake like that.
That was my favorite one yet.
Yeah, it was pretty good. My wife helped me pick it.
Yeah, that was awesome.
So do you want to tell everybody about the mask, or should we just
What
let people
mask?
speculate for a while?
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
mask? Yeah. Well, that's
Yeah.
a story for another time. That's a 1,000 subscriber story.
Yeah, get us to 1,000 subscribers, and there's a story involved. I
There,
promise.
yeah.
All
As
right.
weirded out as you all were right there, you have no idea. All right.
Yeah.
Well,
So we're through week 7. We made it to week 8. So it's our waiver wire episode for week 8. We're halfway through the season.
yeah. And Justin and I were talking earlier today, and I'm a firm believer that this is the worst waiver week of the season.
But you should definitely listen.
Yeah. No, that doesn't mean that there's not information out there. I'm just saying,
Yeah, and
for me, there's not really like a really big name that we need to be putting in for.
yeah.
But there's a lot of preparation that you could be doing for coming weeks.
Yeah. And also, like you said, there is one player that I think is crucial for certain owners. So we'll get to that. But
Right.
I mean, before we get to that, we got some news. No, before we get to that, make sure you guys subscribe on YouTube. Yeah, right? And you can catch us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, all of the major podcast apps or websites, however you want to go listen to them.
Yeah.
And also, we have autographed DeMarco Murray jersey that we'll be giving away here in a couple of days. So make sure you leave comments on our videos after you subscribe so you can be entered to win. Absolutely free for you. And you are entered to win an autographed DeMarco Murray Cowboys jersey.
It could be a Halloween miracle.
Those are my favorite type.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's where Satan or whoever we worship on Halloween hands down gifts to good fantasy football players.
I feel like I basically just worship like comic book characters on Halloween. That's basically my Halloween.
I'm working on Halloween, and
Oh.
then I'm coming home, and I do not live in a place where anybody's going to come trick or treat at my house. I question the parents that would let
Yeah,
kids walk down my driveway. So, anyways,
yeah,
I
but
won't be dealing with Halloween.
I spent way too much money on making my own costume because I'm insane.
Well, I didn't.
Yeah, I'll show you my costume at some point. I'll post on social media as well. I know you won't see it there, but everyone else will.
It'll look better on the floor. You know what I'm saying? Are we live?
No, but we're recording.
Oh, no. Okay. Should we
right.
talk about fantasy football?
Let's talk about some news.
Okay. I think the biggest piece of news that has come out this weekend is Odell Beckham. Torn ACL. Out for the season, man. This was like out of nowhere.
Yeah, did you see? I'm assuming you saw the play, but
Yeah.
it was weird because like he was running and then he just kind of hopped up in the air and fell on the ground, and you're like, what just happened?
Yeah, it sucks, man. I did hear a hot take that this is Baker Mayfield's fault for throwing the interception that Odell Beckham then had to, try and tackle the defensive player. So, I don't know. I don't think, this is a huge fantasy loss for anybody. I think Odell Beckham's been like okay this season.
I mean, it sucks because like he's a player that you could still have hope in, being getting back to a level because we've seen it from him before. But
right,
yeah, it like you said, his production hasn't been holding your team afloat.
Right. we'll talk about Rashard Higgins, excuse me, a little later, I'm sure. But I just wanted to point out that Baker Mayfield has been better throughout his career without Odell Beckham on the field. So I don't know, man. It was a couple weeks ago. Baker Mayfield threw a touchdown pass to someone that wasn't Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham, and I can't remember exactly who it was. But rather than going and celebrating with that player, he runs over to Odell Beckham and Jarvis Landry and just says, "Don't worry, guys, you'll get yours." And it was like kind of this weird thought was like maybe Baker Mayfield feels too pressured to try
Obligated.
and get the
Yeah.
ball in his hands. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he
And
feels obligated to throw them the ball, which I mean, I could see especially with Odell because he does get upset if he doesn't think he gets the ball enough.
right. So I guess I'm not saying there's anything there. Like I'm not like giving definitive proof, right? But I'm curious to see how this plays out for Baker Mayfield now that Odell is out. So,
Yeah.
um, anyways, another piece of injury news that looked far worse um, than it's coming out to be. I mean, it's still pretty bad, but Kenyon Drake uh, looked upset when he got hurt, man.
Yeah.
Like, I think he probably thought that this was far worse than what it was, but it's a partial tear of a ligament in his ankle. They're considering 3 to 4 weeks for Kenyon Drake. Uh, I mean, but when he went down, it was like, is this season ending? Like I thought it was a season ending injury for Kenyon Drake.
It may still be a season ending injury because I mean he has a really good backup running back.
Right. Chase Edmonds, I mean, I don't really even think we can really bring him up as a waiver option because he's like 90% owned already. But if he's not, he is the number one priority on the entire season, as far as I'm concerned. He looked so good in replacement of Kenyon Drake. So,
and I also put out a video of him giving a shout out to a certain clock managing podcast on Instagram that he then went and viewed, which was pretty cool.
when you say clock managing podcast, it makes us sound like a podcast about clocks.
and and you like it.
That sounds like the most boring podcast ever. Just naming different clocks. All right, guys, we're going to be examining the grandfather
Yeah,
clock.
I imagine like them taking them apart and discussing them. But
That
I mean,
would be cooler.
yeah, right? Okay. But anyway, how about some fantasy football?
What other podcast ideas do you have? No, I'm just kidding. All right.
I have a podcast about coming up with podcast ideas.
Dude, that's so meta. All right, Allen Robinson left tonight's game with a concussion in the fourth quarter. It was a pretty tough hit, man. Like they had to force him off the field. The refs did, but he went straight to a knee. Like as soon as he got off the field, you could tell he's pretty dazed. Yeah. He had a rough night overall. I mean, concussions. It's really hard to predict when players are going to come back. So this is just something we're going to have to monitor as the week goes on. But be prepared. Allen Robinson may be missing some time here.
Yeah, also, I mean, well, first of all, I call it podception. Second of all, I think part of it too was that they didn't by the time that knee happened, they weren't coming back in that game. And I think they were
he's officially in the protocol. I mean, that's not up to the team.
Yeah, I mean, he took a knee and he had to get go get observed, but I think that it wasn't as like I don't think it was like a serious, like I mean all concussions are serious, but some are more serious than others. He wasn't knocked unconscious or any, like it didn't look super bad to me.
It looked pretty bad. I don't know. I would not be surprised if he at least misses some practices this week. And is questionable going into next week.
Yeah,
but I mean, like I said, I don't think either of us has any idea. So
yeah, I know for like NFL protocol though, if you lose consciousness, you're automatically out the next week.
Okay. Debo Samuel is expected to miss the next 2 games with a hamstring injury. Uh, I don't know. At this point, for me, Debo Samuel's a total bust. I know it's an injury related thing, but the guy's got to stay on the field.
Yeah,
Uh,
I mean, this good for Ayuk.
I mean, I think Ayuk's. I like Ayuk a lot. I think Ayuk may end up being a better wide receiver than Debo Samuel. Going into next season. So I like Ayuk a lot. Another person to prioritize in waivers, but he's owned in majority of leagues. Deshaun Jackson, pretty nasty ankle injury on what I would call a pretty late hit on a punt return. I don't know if you were watching it.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. I thought it was a pretty late hit. He was already, I mean, he took a headshot, which could have called a penalty there. He's down on the ground. Guy dives right onto his legs. I felt bad for Deshaun Jackson. You and I talk about him all the time as like, yeah, he's just an injury risk waiting to happen. This injury was not his fault or in any way, right? This was like, this shouldn't have happened, this injury. So,
yeah, it didn't need to.
right. Feel bad for him. He's out 6 to 8 weeks. So that's pretty much, he's out for fantasy as far as we're all concerned. So, but Jalen Reagor is officially practicing now, so he will be back here very soon. I like Jalen Reagor. We'll talk about him later. All right. Surprise inactive that you and I didn't get to cover last week was Joe Mixon with his foot injury.
Yeah,
I think he has what they're calling a Liz Frank sprain, right? So it's not a Liz Frank injury. There's not like an actual like physical tear or break, but it's a strain. So he's was considered week to week originally, but now they're saying that he's day to day. They have a week 9 bye, which leads me to believe that they will probably rest him one more week.
And Geo did just fine.
Right, exactly. So they won. Giovanni Bernard played great. They don't need Joe Mixon to go out there and risk a serious injury. Why not give him 3 straight weeks to get healthy with that bye week? So that's what I'm expecting to happen. Christian McCaffrey did practice today, Monday. So that's awesome. But they do play on Thursday. I'm not expecting Christian McCaffrey to play on Thursday, but there is a chance.
Yeah.
There is a very small chance. And if he plays, he is in your lineup. That's as far, like, I would not be scared to start Christian McCaffrey if he plays.
Not, Mike Davis is in your lineup. So
right, Mike Davis is still a full start anytime Christian McCaffrey is not on the field. And again, I do not expect him to play this Thursday. So probably back week 9, it sounds like, with Christian McCaffrey, assuming this week's practice goes well. Chris Carson is considered week to week with a midfoot sprain. So week to week is never something you want to hear. So he's probably certainly going to miss week 8 versus the 49ers, and he could miss more time. Carlos Hyde came in, played well in Chris Carson's stead. So we'll talk about Carlos Hyde later in the show.
Yeah. Also, Penny is eligible to come off IR.
Yeah. I don't know if we'll talk. We can talk about that a little bit later. Nick Chubb could return after a week 9 bye is what the reports are coming from coach Kevin Stefanski. So week 8 against the Raiders, Kareem Hunt still start him, no problem. They have a week 9 bye, and then it sounds like Nick Chubb may be back after that. I think that I'm fine with people still starting Kareem Hunt even when Nick Chubb's back. I think I'm good with that. He was effective before Nick Chubb went down, so nothing to worry about there as far as I'm concerned. Obviously, you're not going to get the same amount of touches, obviously, but he's still very productive with the touches he gets. I think he's almost a little bit better.
Yeah. That's, I mean, I felt that way last season, which is what scared me some, but yeah.
Jeff Wilson is the number 1 waiver pickup this week. Oh, wait. Not anymore. He had 120 yards and 3 touchdowns on 19 touches, and then he was carted off the field in the second half. So That sucks. What running back are we starting in
Um,
San Francisco,
so
Justin?
it should be McKinnon, which means it's going to be Hasty.
And I think it's Tevin Coleman.
And we're all going to be wrong, and there's going to be some other running back that
Des
comes
Bryant
in
is now going to be a running back for the 49ers.
and kill it.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, there was a lot of news this week, guys. There's a lot to unpack. So I'm going to leave it at that for now. We've got a lot of waivers to talk about. I think Justin has some news nobody cares about.
I do.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. So the Bills, their Twitter account's always pretty active. The Bills Twitter account sent out a costume or tweeted out a costume. You can buy a Dan Carpenter Halloween costume. He's their kicker. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why that's the one player, but that's the one they're selling.
Who's the scariest player in the NFL?
Um, it's Aaron Donald.
Aaron Donald?
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, he's scary as in like he'll
tear you apart
yeah,
literally.
well, I mean like
He
he's
could.
really good and really strong, but like I
Yeah,
mean like frightening. Like like I don't know, maybe Ndamukong Suh.
yeah, he's
He's pretty
frightening.
scary.
Yeah, yeah,
Like, the guys that played when we were growing up, like Bill Romanowski.
yeah. I've
We-
heard people say that Michael Thomas looks like Frankenstein with the giant forehead. So, I mean, that could be scary.
DeAndre Hopkins is a velociraptor.
And Michael Thomas is pretty scary if you drafted him on your fantasy team as well.
Oof. Wow, man. No chill.
Okay. Next
People are
thing.
suffering, man.
I know, right? Uh, Speaking of someone suffering, the Cardinals intercepted Russell Wilson, and then DK Metcalf saved a touchdown. Did you see how fast he was running?
22.64 miles per hour.
That is correct. Yeah. That was insane. There's a picture of the defensive coordinator from the Cardinals on the sideline, and his mouth is just open and he
Yeah.
is like shocked.
I love that the Cardinals won that game in overtime. Thrilling game. And all anybody wants to talk about is DK's chase down.
Dude, right?
It was that incredible.
DK deserves fantasy points for that.
Uh-huh. Did you see that the defensive back that he chased down tweeted out that DK hawked me?
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. Like swooped in like a hawk. Yeah, I love that term now.
Right. And I didn't see Pete Carroll's reaction, but I would have loved to see his reaction to that. Because he's pretty animated as is.
The crazy thing is like when that happens, usually it's like, oh, they saved the touchdown for now. They didn't score.
Yeah, 0 points out of that.
0 points. They went for it on fourth down and didn't get it, man. Like props to the Seattle's defense and props to DK Metcalf for saving that, but they still lost. So.
All right. And then last thing, Cowboys defensive coordinator Mike Nolan was doing a virtual teleconference after the game, which he had to promptly end because he had hot sauce on his finger and rubbed his eyes and got hot sauce in his eyes.
Oof. That's so sad.
Yeah, Marshawn Lynch should have thought about that. Like he could have got out of so many interviews.
Oh, good point. He just like walks up with a lemon and just squeezes it. Like, I gotta go. Every time. He gets like a sponsorship with some lemon company. I tried to make a lemon company. Yeah. I couldn't.
Lululemon?
No.
Oh, they don't make lemons?
Yes, they do.
I still don't know what they actually do. So,
You should ask your wife and your daughter. They both, I guarantee you, know what Lululemon is.
All right. How's it going, everyone? I got the founder and CEO of Statement Games here with me. How you doing, Mark?
Hey, how's it going? Really, excited to kind of be here. Of course, we've had some conversations in the past, and I've been following your show and keeping you up with your YouTube channel. So glad that we were finally able to connect, and I'm just excited to finally get a crack to get onto the show.
Yeah, it's exciting. You actually, you guys sponsored our show last year for a little bit, which was pretty awesome. And I went and checked it out because I mean we get a lot of different people reach out to us about similar things, and usually I go to them and it's not very impressive. So I went to your guys' website and I was like super impressed on just like how easy and user friendly it was. I really enjoyed, like, I still use your guys' website to go do props and stuff, which is awesome.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. So, all right. Looks like I passed a little bit of a test here. And,
Yeah, you have my approval.
look, it's one of the things that you try and do here, and I guess we'll get into it in a second here. But if you don't necessarily make the experience as easy and simple for fans, they're just not gonna check out your product. But hopefully, what we're doing and what we'll be able to talk about resonates in a little bit of a different manner with football fans, and especially fantasy football fans. And yeah, hopefully it adds value to your show, and some of the people who are listening to the show here will check it out and eventually give us some feedback.
I want to say one of the aspects I really like is how you can like have a league in there where you're competing amongst other people. That's awesome to me. Just a little extra added thing you don't see out on other sites.
Hey, we're trying.
Yeah. So how long have you been doing it? Like, when did you start this?
Yeah, so I guess ironically in the backdrop here is I've been kind of playing different versions of statement games for probably like the past 25 years. My dad initially kind of came up with this concept, so we've been playing this kind of within my family for the past 25 years. But in terms of what you're actually seeing, from whether it's from within the www.statementgames.com interface, or from like the app, which is available on Google Play as well as Apple. So that product, from a web perspective, initially launched towards the tail end of 2017. Very buggy, very kind of spotty for the first kind of couple of months here, but we officially created a company and relaunched slightly branding of Statement Games in March of 2018. So a couple of years now.
Nice. Yeah, I know what you mean. I know starting our podcast, we had some bugs to work out at the beginning of it, and getting into that thing. Just, it's a learning experience with any when you first start anything,
Yeah. It's something that look, technology is never simple. As soon as you kind of create something and you kind of have a strong idea of the way that things kind of should go, technology takes you in a little bit of a different direction here, and then by the time you actually launch it and you start getting feedback from customers, you might go in a little bit of a different subtle direction as well. So you're always constantly, it's trial and error. You're putting things out there, you're seeing what works, what doesn't work, and you're modifying it, and hopefully kind of making it better, and getting to a point in where you're happy with the product, and consumers gravitate towards it.
Yeah, and honestly, you guys, like, I know I not to stroke your ego too much, but I really think you guys are doing it right and killing it. It's like I thoroughly enjoy going on there. Just to give people kind of understanding, so like kind of some of the things that you would go on there and do, it's kind of like you have props, kind of like, will this player throw for over this amount of yards or under this amount of yards, and things like that, and with all aspects of the game, which to me that's just so much fun because it's completely different than the fantasy football aspect, just like, this lineup versus this lineup. uh and it's a lot of fun because it's you got to really have knowledge of football to play that stuff, which, I always feel like a genius when I'm right, even if it's pure luck.
Yeah,
But sometimes you
yeah,
just get
sure.
lucky, but you feel smart doing it.
Yeah, sure. You want me to kind of take a step back here and just kind of give the people who are checking out this show just a little bit more of an in-depth overview of who we are and what we're kind of doing?
Yeah, I'd love that.
Yeah, sure. So I can't really kind of stress this enough here in terms of who we are and what we do. Of course, you can access Statement Games via www.statementgames.com. There are also apps that are prominent within the App Store, whether it's Apple or Google Play. You can find us by simply typing in Statement Games or Statement Games Fantasy Sports, and we are just a game. As a company, we've created a game. I can actually now say that we've invented a game because I've actually received a patent on this game in
Oh,
August
that's
of
awesome.
2020. So that's pretty. I don't think we've talked about that aspect of the business since some of our initial conversations here, but it's something
Yeah.
that really excited about us as a company. We were actually awarded the patent in August of 2020, as I mentioned here. But what we do is we create games that just have a little bit of a different twist on fantasy sports. So, for example, this upcoming Thursday night, we have the Atlanta Falcons versus the Carolina Panthers.
Yep.
And what we do is we create a list of props, or hence the company name, statements that are specific to that sporting event. For example, all right, Matt Ryan over or under 290 yards passing. Carolina defense over or under 2.5 sacks for the game. Um, we'll present you with anywhere between, I'd say, 50 to 60 different statements, um, broken down into various different categories from a game perspective, the quarterback position, running back position, wide receiver, tight end, the defense, total of anywhere between 50 to 60 different props. If you want to play the game here, it's your job to pick out 10 of them. And as you make your 10 picks, you're going to rank them in order of confidence from 10 through 1. So as that Falcons Panthers game plays out, if your number 10 pick becomes correct, you're going to get 10 points. If 9 through 1 are incorrect, well, now you just have a total of 10 points. You're going to play in a league of anywhere between 8 to 12 people, and the person with the most points from correct picks at the end of that specific sporting event wins. This is a free-to-play game. If you're checking this out for the first time, I don't ask you to fund an account with, a couple of bucks. We don't ask for credit card numbers or social security numbers. You just kind of get in there. This is this is completely free. And although it's free, it's your job as a competitor to build up your kind of coin balance with as many different coins as you possibly can. And you get coins by finishing in either first, second, or third in any contest that you play in. And there's a variety of different contests that we'll offer in addition to the upcoming Thursday night football game here. But when you're ready, eventually you want to build up a coin balance with as many coins as you possibly can, and then eventually exchange those coins for a cash gift card of your choice. So there's a whole reward system that powers the Statement Games platform. Um,
and it's
Merchants like,
and it's free to play.
yeah, correct. Yeah. So there's merchants like, Macy's, Target, Starbucks, NFL Shop, Under Armour, Nike, Amazon, Google, Apple. It's probably about like 80 different merchants that are within our rewards kind of center. So
Hmm.
basically, you're competing, you're playing for free, you're building up an account balance full of coins, and then eventually you want to change those bad boys for a cash gift card of your choice. So
And
hopefully that gives you a better indication of what our game is, how we're positioned in the industry, why we're a little bit different here, and
yeah,
hey, it's a free to play game with just a different spin on
and
fantasy sports.
it's not just football. There's, you guys do all sorts of sports, which I really like, because I mean, although I pride myself on my football knowledge, I'm big on a
Yeah,
lot of other sports as well. um and my favorite thing about this too is, like you said, it's free to play. which the best part about that, I mean, I don't mind if I have to put a couple of bucks down for something to play something, but I live in the state of Washington, which they do mind that. But they, so you can't gamble, do online sports gambling here, and you are not that. So it's completely legal and fine to play in all 50 states, which is amazing.
Yeah. Look, it's a free to play game here. I follow the same rules and regulatory, laws as any other gaming platform that's out there, whether it's, Clash of Clans or Candy Crush.
Yep.
It's just that my game has a little bit more of a, I guess, a
Incentive.
specific, synergies with sports.
Yeah.
As you kind of pointed out here, you can always play games within what we call the general lobby, which is people from all over. I've definitely kind of seen traffic from just about every single state, and then obviously different parts of Canada as well. So as long as you have the ability to access the internet, you could get the statement games from an app store perspective, downloadable in Canada as well as the U.S. But also, as you pointed out here, if you're not interested in playing in the lobby, and I see people who are interested in playing for maybe a couple of dollars on the back end, they create private tournaments. So you can create your own private tournament and just play with your associates, family members, and friends. And if you happen to have a couple of bucks riding on the back end of it as a creator of this game here, that's completely up to you. It's got nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
But the platform is there. Hey, look, just like a lot of people play in traditional fantasy football leagues, whether it be CBS or ESPN or Yahoo.
Yep.
I mean, keep in mind here, you're playing within those leagues from a general perspective for free. Now, your league manager or your admin might be setting up a specific set of, rules that include entry fees if you want to play in that league. But that's on them.
Yeah, that's completely outside the ESPN.
It's completely outside of those ecosystems. Well, the same concepts apply to statement games as well. It's one of the more commonly asked questions that I get as a founder of statement games, which is, hey, can we play for money, or is there a way in which we can kind of gamble on it? And the answer simply is, yeah, go for it.
Yeah, that's up to you.
It's up to you.
Yeah.
I'm just not in the business of collecting fees or entry fees or anything like that here. And at this particular point, it's not necessarily within our existing infrastructure as a startup to be handling other people's money and payouts and all that other fun stuff.
And honestly, like I love it just because, like I said, in Washington State, you're not allowed to go, like they'll block websites that allow things like that. So,
well, I don't think they're going to block me. And we talked a little bit about this, offline here. For the people who want to gamble, I'll make this, extremely easy for you. Anybody who's listening to the show, and of course you can, access or follow Statement Games on social media. Or I guess you can find us on social media, whether it's Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram, or even kind of like YouTube now here. Just searching on Statement Games, or the call symbol is @Statement Games. This is not something that I'm going to be promoting on my network. This is something that you're only going to be learning about it if you're listening to this show, which is pretty simple here. If you're willing to play and try Statement Games, the Thursday night Atlanta Falcons at Carolina Panthers NFL game, if you happen to go 10 for 10 with your picks, in addition to any coins that you win that can be exchanged for rewards, I'm personally going to come to the table with $200. So you got to go 10 for 10 with your picks. Consider it a free lottery ticket. But if you try this game, go 10 for 10 with your picks. I'll personally cut you a check for $200. But the only caveat is you have to be subscribed and following your show.
Yeah, and make sure if you guys have any questions on when you're setting your setting your lineup on there, your rankings on there, you want to reach out, make sure reach out to us. You can reach out to us in the comments, Twitter, wherever it may be.
There you go. Yep.
And I got no problem helping you guys out with that. I'm gonna try and make us. I'm sorry, Mark, but I'm gonna try and make all of us outside of you a lot of money.
It's funny because a couple of weeks ago, I was actually on a different podcast. It was a baseball podcast, and we just happened to be talking about at the time, it was the game one uh, New York Yankees versus the Tampa Bay Rays, baseball playoff game here. I
Yeah,
made kind of
yeah,
the same kind of offer. And look, I'll be completely honest with you. It's pretty rare that people go 10 for 10 with their picks, which is why I actually make the offer, right?
yeah.
But in this particular scenario, not only did one person hit, three people hit. So I literally had to come to the table with about $700 and pay out three different people.
That's awesome.
$225 each. So
Yeah, I mean,
it does happen. It does happen, and like I said, it's just a game. So hopefully, people will be willing to take me up on this offer, have a little bit of fun with it here. Look, if I got to pay out some money here and give people even like a better experience that I'm currently giving them right now, hey, this is what I'm kind of in business for. Hopefully at that point here, you'd also be willing to, tell a couple of your other sports fans and things like that, and they'd be willing
absolutely.
to kind of give it a try. But keep in mind, for the most part here, look, it is a free game. Your job is to accumulate coins, and you're exchanging them for cash anyway. So this is just something that escalates the process a little bit more.
Yeah, yeah. Well, man, I want to say I appreciate you coming on the show and talking to our fans, giving them an opportunity. And again, everyone out there, make sure you go to statementgames.com, sign up on there, and follow them on social media. I follow them on Twitter. That's where I'm mostly at. And I'll be following you on all the social media platforms. I got to be better about having a presence on those. But is there anything you want to say, man, before you take off on us?
No, I once again really appreciate you kind of having me on, giving me a chance to tell my story a little bit more and what my product is and how we're kind of different from some of the other platforms within the industry.
Yeah.
Thank you, and if there's anything else that I could do for you guys, please just reach out and let me know.
For sure. I look forward to working with you more in the future, man. Thanks. All right, Perry. So these waivers, you want to get us started with this?
Not really.
Okay.
Okay, so I mean, my number one waiver priority, and this isn't like a rest of season pickup, but it's Carlos Hyde. He looked great against Arizona when Chris Carson went down. He does have some hamstring tightness that we need to monitor this week, but it's just tightness. Honestly, I think he'll be okay. He got a lot of work in that game. He looked really good. So, I mean, if you're looking for like a replacement for 1 week or a 1 week buy or 1 week rental, I think Carlos Hyde is going to give you easily RB2 numbers.
Yeah, yeah. I like it. Great, great pickup. And like you said, with the available people out there, that's probably the best one. Assuming Chase Edmonds is not available, because he's probably not. But make sure he is not before you grab Carlos Hyde.
Right. Some other guys out there in the running back position, these are more long-term pickups. Jermichael Hasty, Justin already mentioned him. Personally, I think it's probably going to be McKinnon and Tevin Coleman. Tevin Coleman will be back.
And
I don't
Hasty
know
will
what happened.
probably
What happened to McKinnon? I
Nothing.
know that they're like, we
Nothing.
just want to rest him.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think there's something going on.
Yeah, it worries me, but I mean, you never know with San Francisco too. They'll just choose a running back to feature each week. It's kind of like New England, you know?
Right. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, Jermichael, this is what I'm talking about this week. Like the waiver priorities just are really weird, but like another name out there right now is LaMichael P. Ryan. And
The only reason we are talking about LaMichael P. Ryan is because he scored a touchdown.
right. He did have 13 touches.
Yeah.
Which is nice. And it's nice to see a Jets running back that isn't ancient getting some work.
But yeah, that's the thing is, do you trust their coaching staff to
No.
continue that?
Again, that's my point. I hate waivers this week. But I have to tell people like who they should go put waivers in for, I guess. And the best of the worst is people like LaMichael P. Ryan.
Yeah.
I don't expect LaMichael P. Ryan. Even if he's good on that team, that's like low end RB2 ceiling.
Yeah.
Like even if he's good, like you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's
could
not.
It could be 19 for 47.
And like the next two defenses they play are good defenses. Like I don't want to play him against those defenses either. It's not like he's playing against the Jets or something,
Right.
because that's impossible.
Right. Yeah. I mean, his next 3 weeks are Kansas City, New England, and a bye. Kansas City is a 21.5 point favorite in this game, which is insane. That's like a line that is never seen.
And like the only good part of that is that, in any other situation, that means that the running backs are not going to be getting the ball very often, but it is the Jets, so I don't expect them to make good decisions, and they may still try to run the ball.
Right. Another guy to mention, Wayne Gallman. I think we've talked about him already this season, right? Obviously, when Saquon went down, Devonta Freeman had a little bit of an ankle injury. We're still waiting to hear more about that.
It's about to be Wayne's world.
It's about to be Wayne's world up in that backfield. And it's also about to be Tampa Bay's backfield, because they're going to set up a tent back there next week.
Yeah. And they play Washington the next week, which Washington's defense is pretty good, but they haven't been amazing against the run. They have a really good secondary.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, do you have any other running back speculative ads or people that maybe we should be adding looking forward? What are the best handcuffs that are available right now? That sort of thing.
I like you said, this a rough like waiver wire one episode, just because these are like the best people out there generally available that are available in most leagues. And they're not great ones. Like I think
What do you think about like somebody like Sony going out and getting Sony Michel, right? He's coming off COVID IR. He could be good when he comes back.
But that whole offense is scary to me. We don't know what's going on with Cam Newton. I would rather, have Carlos Hyde than I would have Sony Michel.
Yeah, I agree. I think even with a healthy Chris Carson, I'd rather have Carlos Hyde. Honestly. Yeah, it's kind of weird out there right now, guys. I would just go out and see if you can get your handcuffs at running back this week. And if not, we could talk about some wide receivers.
Yeah, Gio Bernard too. He's available in some leagues still. So, I did want to bring up Williams with Jones missing time. Aaron Jones missed some time,
right?
Or this week he was a last minute scratch. So Williams, killed it. He's worth an ad, because I think Aaron Jones will be back this week, but Williams he has value standalone, and then also.
Yeah, I think I brought that up a few weeks ago before Aaron Jones was ever injured or anything.
Yeah,
just how good he's been playing, Jamal Williams.
Check it out. If he's out there on your waiver wire, that's definitely a good target as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, wide receivers.
Yeah.
Who's your number one wide receiver priority this week?
Oh man. It probably is Higgins for me. Just I think he sees the biggest increase here in volume. We have a few other ones on here, but I think Higgins is the biggest beneficiary due to, I mean, obviously OBJ going out. He's going to see more targets there, and they've been throwing the ball quite a bit, more than what I expected with Stefanski there. So I think that he could be valuable in as a flex spot.
I really like this next guy on the list, which is really funny. Nelson Aguilar.
I looked at it and I just can't do it. I can't get into the.
I mean, Derek Carr has been playing really, really well.
Yeah,
Really well. And I mean, Nelson Aguilar is probably the number one wide receiver on that team.
Oh, would you rather have him than Ruggs?
It depends on what you need. I think Ruggs is boom bust. He's a one play guy, right?
Yeah, but I feel like Nelson Aguilar is too. Like he's,
He's had three straight games with touchdowns.
I know, but he's just boomed 3 times in a row. They've been deep passes though.
He caught 5 passes for 170 yards and a touchdown this week.
I know, but one of those passes was like 70 yards.
I mean, Ruggs isn't doing it.
No, he's not. But I'm just saying that they both are that type of player to me.
I think I'd rather have Nelson Aguilar than Henry Ruggs right now.
Oh, that's so. Gross.
Rest of season, maybe not, but like right now, next week, you have to pick one. Who's better next week against Cleveland?
I'm probably still starting Ruggs.
You're just hyped on his draft pedigree. That's all.
I mean, it's part of it, yeah.
All right, I get Aguilar. You get this next guy. Deal?
So if it wasn't for the matchups, I would say yes.
Okay.
So the next guy is Sterling Shepard. He looked great last week, but there's some caveats to that. He was playing against Philadelphia, and then this next week he goes up against Tampa Bay's defense, followed by Washington's defense, which I was just talking about how they have really good secondary. So I don't want him honestly right now. Maybe after week 9 I would grab him, because week 10 he plays Philadelphia again, where he just played them and looked really good. So maybe in 2 more weeks he'll be back on this list, but I think he'll get this percentage that he's rostered will go down between now and that time.
Yeah. A couple other guys to mention that are just a little bit higher rostered is Brandon Ayuk. He's 48% rostered, so he's probably taken in a lot of leagues. But if he's not, I'm pretty excited about Brandon Ayuk. Cole Beasley is 40% rostered, but Cole Beasley is pretty darn good, and he's really important to that offense. So I expect him to continue to be relevant. And then Corey Davis.
Yeah, he showed up again.
Is he a must own? Like, he must be owned? I don't think he's a must start.
He's definitely not a must start, but most leagues I would say yes, he should be owned by someone.
Right. Yeah, I agree. Okay, let's talk about some. You want to do tight ends or quarterbacks next?
Let's do tight ends.
Okay. You first, man. You first.
Okay. Oh shoot, I went to the wrong part on the list. I went to the wrong. There we go. Okay, I got Trey Burton, which I've been talking about him. Perry, I'm going to convince you at some point.
No, I know. I have gone in so many circles on tight ends this season. It's been pretty ugly. I think I've played tight end so poorly, so you guys should listen to Justin.
Yeah, so I do still like Trey Burton. I think that he's he's their number one tight end right now, and he looks good out there. He's getting targeted, and he continues to get those targets. Which, as long as he gets the targets, then I mean I'm okay with starting him.
Trey Burton or Rob Gronkowski?
Uh, I'm going Gronk.
Me too, man. Finally.
Yeah, I know. That's the first time I've said that. Huh?
I brought him up the last few weeks, and you're finally buying in.
Yeah.
Gronk's real.
I know, and I don't like it, but he is.
He looks so unsafe.
Yeah. I know. Watching him run, that's why like I couldn't get on board. Just like he looks horrible out there. His mechanics of just running are not good.
No, it does not look like a football field is where he needs to be.
No.
But it's where he is.
He runs like a baby rhinoceros.
I think that gives him too much grace. He runs like his legs don't bend anymore. I don't know. Whatever. It doesn't matter. He's getting a lot of targets. He's found the end zone 2 straight weeks. Tom Brady's rolling at this point.
Yeah.
They went and added Antonio Brown. Did we talk about that?
I don't think we did. I think they just did it for like no good reason too.
I mean, I think there's no reason not to sign Antonio Brown if you don't have to pay up for him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. But I mean, of all the teams, like how are the Eagles not the ones going for him? Like all these teams hurting for wide receivers, and like they're like, hey, guess what?
They're just mismanaged teams. I don't know.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, I think that he likes, being. Yeah, he likes having the top bunk in Tom Brady's house. So,
right. Yeah, him and Tom Brady are buddies. I love that Bruce Arians has said that Tom Brady had nothing to do with the signing of Antonio Brown, which is
a lie.
No, come on.
I saw someone say that Tom Brady's the dude who comes to your party and then texts all of his friends to come that you did not invite or want there.
I think they want them there. They do, man. Yeah, I saw your tweet. Wes Welker's coming out of retirement, man.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Me too. I heard Randy Moss might stop in for a few games.
It's just like a reunion of retired Tom Brady targets.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, back to tight end though.
Yeah. Logan Thomas, kind of the same place as Trey Burton, right?
Yeah, and he did find the end zone this week, which was some value, but he also has a bye week next week. So, I mean, if this is a player you're considering, I would say, obviously I'm not going to tell you to roster him just to take up that space on a bye week. I don't think he's a player you need to do that with, so you can wait a week.
Yeah. This other guy here, Harrison Bryant, I actually would rather have Austin Hooper. And I understand that Austin Hooper probably isn't playing this week, but Austin Hooper's going to be back soon. And then I really like Hooper.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Hooper, if you have room on your roster and Austin Hooper's available.
And Njoku requested a trade again.
Yeah, I think Njoku might be done there.
Yeah. He's probably gonna go to Tampa Bay.
Yeah,
because they need a tight end.
Okay, let's talk about some quarterback streams for this week, Justin.
Okay, so the first guy I want to talk about here is a guy you were just talking about who's playing really well, and that's Derek Carr, because he's not owned in most leagues, so you can throw him in there. And they're going against Cleveland. Cleveland's defense has not been good.
Yeah, I mean, they get to the quarterback, but nothing else.
Yeah.
So he might get sacked 2 or 3 times, but I think that's as bad as it's going to get.
Yeah, he's still going to launch that ball down the field.
to
Uh, to Ruggs.
no. The correct answer was Nelson Aguilar. I'm sorry.
And then
Sorry.
Henry Ruggs will catch it.
Justin Herbert is
Must mention at all times.
very good.
Yeah.
Like Justin Herbert is no longer a stream option. He's a if you own him, you start him option. Really like Justin Herbert. Teddy Bridgewater against Atlanta. Teddy Bridgewater's
Yeah.
already lit them up once, and he's got Atlanta this week. I think he's an awesome stream. Let's see who else we have to talk about.
Joe Burrow too.
Yeah, Joe Burrow. I mean, a lot of these guys are people that are probably owned, but if Joe Burrow's available, he's kind of just like Justin Herbert. You don't drop either of them. You just continue playing them even through bad matchups as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
How do you feel about Tua playing against the Rams? The Rams look pretty good tonight against the Bears.
Yeah, it's so I mean, here's the thing with Tua. Tua could be good, but it's not going to be this week.
Or next.
Yeah.
Or the one after that.
Are you just out on Tua completely, or?
I don't understand what Miami's thinking. Like Ryan Fitzpatrick was playing very well.
Yeah.
And now they decide that they want to put Tua in, going into the hardest stretch of their season almost.
Yeah, I don't know why if you're gonna make that move, you don't do it when you played the Jets.
Right.
Like when you give the rookie quarterback some confidence.
Right. I don't know, man. It feels weird to me. But yeah, he plays the Rams, then Arizona. Arizona, I guess, isn't too bad. Then he plays the Chargers. Chargers have a pretty decent defense. Denver has a decent defense. And then he gets the Jets again in week 12. And then it goes Jets, Cincinnati. So there's a decent little line there, but I don't know. We'll see on Tua. I hope he's good, but he's coming off a lot of injuries. He hasn't played serious competitive football in a long time. So,
yeah, and like I said, I don't know why they announced it so early too. Like, why would you announce that during your bye week? Like before, like it's just so early. You're just giving the other team more time to prepare.
The Rams will be ready for Tua.
Yeah, and that's what because Aaron Donald doesn't. You know, that's what he needed was more time to prepare for this rookie quarterback.
Oh gosh, I feel bad for him. All right, any other quarterbacks?
Baker, Derek Carr, we talked about them. Tua, yeah, that's probably it.
All right, few defense streams this week. The Chargers at Denver. It's a pretty good stream. Denver looks just terrible on offense. Absolutely terrible on offense. Kansas City, if they're available, they're probably not, but they're playing the Jets, which might be the most insane like blowout of the season. There's a pretty decent chance. Let's see here. The Colts at Detroit. It's a pretty good option. I don't know. Detroit can move the ball a little bit, but the Colts defense looks legit. Packers at Minnesota. I mean, we haven't seen Minnesota for a full week. They're on bye, but they look terrible going into the bye.
I'm sure the Buccaneers are owned, but if not, you want them against the Giants.
Mm-hmm. They're owned.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. They're owned. Yeah. Not a ton of great streaming options at defense this week, just because the good defenses are already playing the bad teams, which is not good for the bad team.
I'm okay with the Rams against the Dolphins. I think that's a good one.
Yeah, that could be a fun stream.
And another one I like this week is the Bills against the Patriots. If
I kind of like the Patriots against the Bills too.
If they don't start Cam, they put Stidham out there.
Oh, they're starting Cam. Bill Belichick already
confirmed
that he is absolutely the starter. So, gosh, Cam Newton, how bad did he look?
Oh man, as a 49er fan, I was super happy about it, but like as a Cam Newton fan, I felt bad for him.
I don't know, man. He said it himself. Like he takes full responsibility. He said that he has to play better.
Yeah.
And he's right, man. Like he played so bad, 3 interceptions. Oof.
Yeah, it was just horrible.
I heard a crazy stat. The Jets in the second half had 12 total yards? Or was it 8? Let's see if I can find that real quick. Anything we need to mention, Justin?
I saw a stat that the Rams have only allowed, I want to say it was 3 points in the third quarter of games this whole season.
Okay.
And then the announcer said after the Bears scored so they added points to that at some point, but I'm pretty sure the announcer was wrong when he added the points.
I'm sorry. I had this wrong. My apologies, guys. In the second half, the Jets totaled 4 yards on offense.
That's amazing.
4 yards. And I think that they had
that's like 8
play.
Oh, I was going to say, that's like 8 Frank Gore rushes.
They had like a 10-yard play and then lost 6 yards somewhere or something like that. That's insane. That's so bad. And Adam Gase still has a job, everybody.
Oh yeah. They're full in, I told you, they're full in on getting that number 1 draft pick. It's amazing.
I would want out of that team so bad. Like it's embarrassing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, if you're a player within any sort of talent or stature, yeah, but like, I mean, Frank Gore at this point's happy to be on an NFL team. Sam Darnold also happy to be a starting quarterback. You know, like they're good players already left.
Wait, you mentioned Sam Darnold. He threw 2 picks and got sacked 6 times. You think he had fun?
No, but he knows that he wouldn't be starting anywhere else.
He also wouldn't get hit 6 times.
Yeah, but he's still going to get that quarterback contract. Actually, he's not, because they're going to draft a quarterback next year.
Yeah. You want to be Sam Darnold? I think Sam Darnold is better than what he's shown this season.
Absolutely. We saw that with Ryan Tannehill. Like, you get away from bad coaching and you can be good. We saw that Goff when he had Jeff Fisher as his coach.
Oh God, Jeff Fisher.
Yeah, Goff was the worst quarterback in the NFL, and then they got rid of their coach, and all of a sudden he was good.
Okay.
All right, that's enough on that, though.
There, buddy.
Yep, that's it. We're clocking out.